know, as you know, I never wanted to get married, but I did get married, and I took my marriage vows quite seriously. And so I stuck with it, even though it was quite unsatisfactory, probably from day one. But I kept with it because I just didn't want it to fail. Now, I didn't make it fail. I did everything I possibly could to make it work. I was a great wife, I have to say. I was. I loved doing the washing and the cooking and the ironing and everything. No, really, I did.
Were you great in all departments?
Yeah, okay, I was actually, apparently. But, you know, it was him who really wanted out, and he engineered the end, and, you know, it was me who said it in the end. But I would have kept going. I just would have kept going, because that's how I think you know, with a marriage, I think you have to give it a lot more than, like, 2 years.
But, I mean, just carrying on isn't enough. I mean, if you had specific problems, I mean, did you ever sit down and say, right, okay, we've got to have a chat about this? Did you make an effort together to get over them?
He's not a big talker. He doesn't really talk about stuff like that. No, I didn't. But I just thought, oh, you know, he's going through a bit of a thing at the moment with the fame and the job and everything, and he'll grow out of it, and it will all be fine. And I did actually believe that for a while. But at the same time, I did know when it was time to give up, and I did know when it was time to just say, right, got to get out of this now. It's going to go nowhere. So, you know, the marriage, I think. Yeah, I do think people give up on marriage too easily, and it isn't really a case of. I think with a lot of people it is the case of, I don't want to be on my own anymore. I spent a long time finding a husband and being married, getting married, and I'm not going to give up on it that easily. But I just think with marriage, I think people give up on it too easily. Full stop.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I mean, till I got married, I was one of these people who, if it just didn't feel right, I'd bolt, I'd run. I didn't let it get to a point where it would be uncomfortable or, you know, awkward, and ended up with actually a lot of men being my friends after it, which, you know, is great. But since I've been married, it is a commitment. It is something that you want to make work, you know, and the type of person that I'm with is someone who also wants to make it work back. I think the question you're asking is, you know, whether it's better to be in something that's kind of bland and to stick with it, or to be single. And truth be known, the opposite of love is not hating someone. The opposite of love is being in something that's indifferent, where you don't actually feel much or want much out of something.
Is that when you know it's dead?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty much so.
Oh, well then.
Hey, what about you?
Oh, I wanted to tell you all about my relationship. We've run out of time. Isn't that terrible? Our next guest knows all about putting up with a marriage that's less than perfect. And like us, she's shared all the gory details of her relationship with the entire nation in her You magazine column. So would you please welcome Liz Jones. Welcome, Liz. Hello. How are you?
Thank you.
Now, we've got the book here. Now, it's got two central characters. One Liz Jones, you, and one Nirpal. What's Nirpal's second name? Dhaliwal. And he's your husband. So tell us a bit about these central characters, although it's not fictional.
Not fiction, no. People ask me if I made it up. I really didn't make it up. Well, I'm a career woman. I've always worked really, really hard. I'm very high maintenance. I like my products. I like everything to be just so.
A certain kind of coffee, a certain kind of water.
Yes, oily baths, the right beauty products. And he came into my life when he was 26, and I'm 11 years older than him. And he was he was like a puppy. He's just very young and enthusiastic and full of confidence and very, very laid back. We're very, very different. So it's about the two very different people coming together, and can you actually live together in the same house and make it work?
What's the answer?
Well, you do. You do live together, don't you?
Yes, yes.
But does it work? Because reading your columns, it actually comes across as like it doesn't at all.
Well, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't work, and I think I'm very, very difficult to live with. Yes. I have to admit, because
and everyone who knows anything about you knows that, and she's not exaggerating.
So I do feel quite sorry for him, really. I think what happened to me is that I'd been single for such a long time. You get quite set in your ways. You are used to coming home at night and the house is exactly as you left it in the morning. And what's been quite difficult is going to work and coming home and the house isn't as I left it in the morning. It's all quite different. But he refuses to pander to my tidiness and my everything being in its place.
But is that a good thing, though? I mean, do you think it would work better if he did, or is that part of his appeal?
No, I think he's been quite good for me, really, because he's loosened me up a little bit, I think.
But
the other
Well,
side of
try to.
it, the other side of it, and Carol's a long-term reader of your column, and I've just read the book, is that you pay for everything.
Yeah.
You absolutely subsidise them. Buys toothpaste,
Yeah.
clothes,
Yeah.
holidays, the whole lot, and he's
Yeah.
not always very grateful for that, and doesn't always make you feel very good about yourself.
No, he's a little bit naughty. But I think what I've done, and I sort of recognise that I've done it, is, and I think a lot of women of my generation do that, you like to have the power in a relationship. I couldn't deal with a man who bossed me, or paid for dinner, or called the shots. I like calling the shots. So I think I deliberately chose someone who I could have that power over.
Is it a happy relationship? Is it a happy relationship?
Yeah, we do have quite a good deal of fun, and we laugh. And
Do you only write about the negative stuff then? Because, reading it as I have for a long time, and am I right to think that the book is mainly the columns? It's like a...
It's sort of based on the columns.
Yeah.
Yeah, they form the sort of the skeleton of the book.
Yeah,
in a
but it
way.
always seems to be so tragic. I'm sure it isn't, because you obviously don't write. You write about 500 words a week
Yeah,
about it, so
yeah.
it's obviously what's
Yeah.
been poignant in that
Yeah.
week. So it sounds
Yeah.
quite negative sometimes.
I think I do what a lot of women do is we tend to moan, and we tend to tell our girlfriends, oh, I can't believe what he did last night, and he forgot to buy this, and he didn't get me a present for my wedding
You tell the
anniversary.
world. How does he feel about that? I mean, it's very personal. I mean, your life, your relationship,
Yeah.
all the tensions, all the difficult bits, is there for everyone to see. How does
Yeah.
he feel about it for a start?
That has been the most difficult part, because I do write about our sex lives, what he does in bed, his weight problems, my eating problems, and that is very hard for him to deal with. And mainly, we've got away with it because he doesn't read it.
Not anymore.
At all.
He used to, though, didn't he?
At the very beginning, when we were both going out, he thought it was quite exciting and it was all going really well, and he did read it. But now it's all gone a bit pear-shaped. He doesn't read it.
Does he resent you, though, capitalising on what's supposed to be like your private life? Does he resent it at all?
Well, what happened was that, yes, he does. His friends text him and they tell him what I've been, and did you do this? And they said, I didn't know I did that, and I didn't know you bought that. And so his friends and women in the street stop him and tell him what he's been doing, and he didn't perhaps realise he'd been doing this. So he does tell me I have to stop, so I do have to stop.
Have there been things that you've written that you've sat and thought, oh, I wish I hadn't wrote that because
Yes.
that was perhaps too much?
Yes.
Really?
The other day, his mum phoned him and said, are you gay? Because I'd written about him and his new gay best friend, and he seems to get on with his new gay best friend better than he does with me, and we hadn't had sex for 8 months. So his poor mum was on the phone saying, are you gay, and why did you get married? And so I did cross the line there a little bit, I think. So, but he's very sweet and he's very tolerant. And
The book ends. It just ends. It's kind of ongoing, and there's no great resolution. You're
Yeah.
just kind of